Traditional aircraft, no matter how stealthy, remain vulnerable when exposed too long to modern air defense networks. America's latest hypersonic test has pushed beyond those limits, demonstrating speeds that stun defense experts and even outpaced the F-22 Raptor, the U.S. Air Force's premier fifth-generation fighter. But what hypersonic test did the United States just conduct? And could it give America the decisive edge over its rivals? Join us as we unveil the details of the hypersonic test that the United States recently conducted and what exactly stunned experts. The United States Army is preparing to bring one of its most ambitious weapons to life, a system that has been whispered about for years and tested under a cloud of both setbacks and secrecy. The long-range hypersonic weapon, fittingly nicknamed Dark Eagle, designed to reach ranges of nearly 2,700 kilometers, or roughly 1,670 miles, and capable of flying at speeds faster than Mach 5, Dark Eagle is engineered to outpace and outmaneuver traditional defenses. Unlike conventional missiles, it rides the upper edges of the Earth's atmosphere, carrying its hypersonic glide body in a realm too high for most interceptors, yet too low for space-based shields, giving it an almost untouchable flight profile until the moment it dives onto its target. This ability makes it a weapon designed not just for offense, but for deterrence against formidable rivals such as China, Russia, and North Korea, all of whom are racing to master their own hypersonic arsenals. But Dark Eagle's road to deployment has been anything but smooth. Originally expected to be operational by the year 2023, the weapon stumbled through a series of frustrating test failures. Its first major setback came in 2022, when pre-flight issues forced the Army to scrub its launch, delaying progress at a time when urgency was mounting. The following year brought another hurdle as engineers uncovered a critical battery flaw just before testing, a seemingly small technical issue that created another lengthy pause. For critics, these stumbles seem to confirm doubts about whether hypersonic technology was ready for real-world use. Yet the program pressed forward, and by 2024, Dark Eagle began to prove its worth, with a battery making its debut at Exercise Resolute Hunter, a milestone that suggested the tide had turned. Now with official deployment scheduled before the close of fiscal year 2025, the weapon is poised to become more than a prototype. It is set to become an operational reality. The question of where the first unit will be stationed remains uncertain, though Joint Base Lewis McChord in Washington, home of the first multi-domain task force, has long been the likely candidate. Wherever it lands, Dark Eagle will come as part of a complete system, including launchers, transport vehicles, fire control stations, and a full logistical backbone to keep the weapon combat ready. Its arrival will give the Army a strategic edge, one that promises not only to close the hypersonic gap with rival powers, but also to establish a new standard for precision strike warfare. That edge was on full display when the United States took a decisive step in its Indo-Pacific posture, deploying the Dark Eagle long-range hypersonic weapon system to Australia during the Talisman Sabre 2025 exercise. It was the first overseas deployment of the ground-launched hypersonic system and signals Washington's intent to deter and, if needed, counter growing Chinese military reach. In July, the Hawaii-based 3rd Multi-Domain Task Force moved the system into Australia's Northern Territory, where it integrated into a 3-week exercise that involved roughly 40,000 troops from 19 nations. For the United States, the deployment was both a demonstration of capability and a test of how rapidly advanced strike systems can be projected into contested theaters. Dark Eagle was engineered for precisely this kind of forward presence. Each missile can fly faster than Mach 5 and strike targets at ranges near 1,725 miles, while maneuvering in flight to frustrate interception attempts. Mounted on mobile launchers, the system supports shoot-and-scoot tactics that complicate enemy targeting and shorten the time adversaries have to respond. That mobility, paired with high speed and mid-course maneuverability, gives commanders flexible options for rapid long-range response and reshapes how planners think about deterrence and escalation in the region. Beyond the hardware, the deployment served clear diplomatic purposes. Stationing the Dark Eagle in Australia reassured allies that the United States remains committed to Pacific security and is willing to integrate advanced capabilities into combined operations. For partners anxious about Beijing's expanding navy and missile forces in the South China Sea and beyond, the move signaled that the U.S. can partner closely and bring modern strike options to bear. The presence of the system during a large multinational exercise also provided a chance to rehearse alliance logistics, command arrangements, and the exchange of targeting data under realistic conditions. Operationalizing hypersonic weapons in a forward setting is complex. Their unusual flight profiles and speeds demand new planning, logistics, and command and control approaches. Transporting, emplacing, and sustaining the system during a forward deployment required careful coordination between U.S. and Australian authorities. Troops trained on secure emplacement, rapid repositioning, and integration with allied sensors, so fire control and targeting could work smoothly across national lines. Exercises like Talisman Sabre tested not only the weapon, but also the networks of people, sensors, and communications that must function together for a hypersonic strike to be credible and safe. Officials frame the move as part of a broader shift toward dispersed lethality and integrated joint concepts. Patrick Mason, a senior logistics official with the U.S. Army, said weapons like Dark Eagle are meant to complicate adversaries' decision calculus and strengthen deterrence with speed, accuracy, and flexibility. In combined drills, the system also tested how partners can share time-sensitive intelligence, maintain resilient communications, and operate under the strain of complex multinational command structures. Still, the deployment raises important questions for planners and policymakers. How will regional basing and rotational patterns evolve to support a persistent presence without unnecessarily escalating tensions? What legal and operational safeguards will govern the use of hypersonic weapons in crowded maritime and air environments? Allies must balance strong deterrence, signaling with discipline to prevent miscalculation in crises. Dark Eagle's trip to Australia was more than a tactical move. It was a strategic statement. By demonstrating the ability to deploy a mobile, high-speed strike capability alongside partners, the United States showed it can field advanced deterrent options in the Indo-Pacific, complicating any adversary's planning. For allies and rivals alike, the message is clear. The tempo of modern strike warfare is accelerating, and those who can move faster will shape the region's security and policy matters. Its deployment is also a significant step for Washington, but American planners know it will not, on its own, be enough to maintain a decisive edge in the Indo-Pacific. China has been pressing ahead with its own hypersonic arsenal, developing and unveiling systems designed to bypass traditional defenses and complicate U.S. strategy. Chief among these is the F-17, first displayed in a Victory Day parade in Beijing in 2019, a system that sent ripples through military circles by showcasing China's ability to field an operational hypersonic glide vehicle well before many had expected. Unlike speculative projects, the F-17 has been paraded, tested, and woven into the People's Liberation Army's broader modernization efforts, signaling Beijing's intent to lead in the hypersonic race rather than play catch-up. Now, as another Victory Day parade approaches on September 3rd, reports suggest that even newer hypersonic platforms could be revealed, potentially joining China's arsenal shortly after the celebrations end. If accurate, these developments underscore a pattern. Beijing uses such parades not only for domestic prestige, but also as strategic messaging to its rivals. Rolling out new hypersonic systems in front of cameras is more than a show of strength. It is a signal to Washington, Canberra, Tokyo, and beyond that, China will continue to innovate and deploy weapons designed to neutralize foreign strike capabilities. With each new system announced, the pressure grows on the United States and its allies to demonstrate that their own technologies are credible and deployable, not simply prototypes or test articles. Predictably, China's reaction to the Dark Eagle deployment has gone beyond military calculations. State-controlled outlets and affiliated analysts have seized on the move to portray Australia as an instrument of American power rather than an independent actor. In remarks to the South China Morning Post, Chen Hong of East China Normal University argued that Australia had become a tool of Washington's Indo-Pacific strategy, describing Canberra as both a strategic and tactical weapon used by the United States across multiple fronts. This rhetoric fits neatly within Beijing's long-standing narrative that U.S. alliances are manipulative, designed to coerce partners into serving American interests at the expense of their own sovereignty. It is also an attempt to drive wedges within alliances, suggesting to the Australian public and regional observers that Canberra is compromising its autonomy by aligning too closely with Washington's security architecture. From an American perspective, however, the deployment is less about using allies and more about building credible regional deterrence. Hypersonic systems like Dark Eagle gain much of their value from forward basing, where they can threaten targets across vast distances without the delay of repositioning from continental U.S. soil. Australia's Northern Territory offers ideal geography for such deployments, close enough to potential flashpoints to matter, far enough from direct strikes to complicate enemy planning. For Canberra, hosting such systems provides not only security assurances, but also a seat at the table in shaping the alliance's future direction. By integrating into exercises like Talisman Sabre, Australia gains access to cutting-edge operational concepts and strengthens its role as a core player in the Indo-Pacific balance of power. Still, Beijing's criticisms cannot be dismissed outright. Australia's decision to host advanced strike systems inevitably ties it closer to U.S. strategy and could make it a target in any future confrontation. Public debate within Australia will likely intensify as deployments grow more permanent, raising questions about risk, sovereignty, and the balance between deterrence and provocation. Yet for now, Canberra's choice is clear. Aligning with Washington's hypersonic push is viewed as essential to ensuring stability in a region where speed, range, and precision are redefining military power. In this sense, the Dark Eagle deployment and China's looming hypersonic displays are part of the same story, a competition not only of technologies, but of narratives. For Washington and Canberra, the emphasis is on deterrence and alliance strength. For Beijing, it is about sovereignty and resistance to U.S. influence. The hypersonic race is therefore more than just an arms competition. It is a struggle over how power is perceived, projected, and contested across the Indo-Pacific. Amid this shifting balance, the United States Air Force is equally focused on the skies, determined to keep the F-22 Raptor sharp in an era where aerial dominance is no longer guaranteed. As part of its fiscal year 2026 budget request, the service has earmarked more than $90 million to kickstart a sweeping viability upgrade program. The aim is simple yet ambitious: ensure America's premier fifth-generation air superiority fighter remains competitive against the rapidly advancing threats posed by China and Russia well into the next decade. For a jet that once redefined air combat, these updates are less about reinventing the aircraft and more about stretching its formidable design to meet the challenges of an evolving battlefield. The Raptor's problem has never been raw capability. It remains one of the most stealthy, agile, and lethal fighters ever built. Instead, the challenge lies in sustaining and adapting it to keep pace with emerging threats. Maintenance for the fleet has become increasingly complex and costly, with established procedures leaving little room for error in high-intensity conflict scenarios. As adversaries unveil advanced radars, longer-range surface-to-air missiles, and stealth fighters of their own, the Air Force knows it cannot allow the Raptor to stand still. The planned upgrades are designed to enhance every facet of survivability, from its ability to avoid detection to how it responds when detection occurs. At the center of this modernization package is the Infrared Defensive System, or IRDS, a breakthrough in early warning technology. Borrowing from Lockheed Martin's TAC-IRM-ST system, first integrated on contractor-operated F-5 Advanced Tiger jets, the IRDS will provide the Raptor with advanced sensors capable of spotting hostile threats, whether long-range air-to-air missiles or sophisticated surface-to-air batteries, earlier and with greater accuracy than ever before. By giving pilots more time to react and counter, the IRDS could mean the difference between survival and loss in the opening minutes of a high-end engagement. But the IRDS is only one part of a broader suite of updates designed to make the Raptor more formidable. Parallel to the viability upgrade, the Air Force is already investing in an infrared search and track system, or IRST, housed in an external pod. This system allows the F-22 to detect and track low observable aircraft like China's J-20 or Russia's Su-57, without relying solely on radar, adding a critical edge in the stealth versus stealth era. Additionally, engineers are working on stealth-optimized external fuel tanks, a long-awaited innovation that will extend the jet's range without compromising its radar profile or aerodynamic performance. For a fighter expected to operate across the vast Pacific theater, such improvements could prove invaluable. Taken together, these enhancements are more than a technical refresh. They represent a bridging strategy, one meant to keep the Raptor relevant until the arrival of its successor. That successor, known variously as the Next Generation Air Dominance Program or by its notional designation, the F-47, remains years away from operational service. In the meantime, the Air Force cannot afford to let the backbone of its air superiority fleet grow outdated. By investing in these upgrades now, the service ensures not only that the Raptor can continue to dominate in contested skies, but also that a large fleet of upgraded fifth-generation fighters will still be available even after the sixth generation enters the fight. The message is clear. While the Raptor's days as the undisputed king of the skies may eventually give way to the next era of fighters, it will not fade quietly into the background. With the IRDS, IRST, stealth fuel tanks, and other classified improvements on the horizon, the F-22 is set to remain a lethal guardian of American air power, bridging past innovation with future supremacy. Even as the U.S. Air Force continues to expand its ambitious upgrade program for the F-22 Raptor, all eyes are also on the future. The F-47, Boeing's sixth-generation fighter that promises to carry American air superiority well into the middle of the century. Envisioned as part of the Next Generation Air Dominance Initiative, the F-47 is not simply another aircraft, but a flying weapons ecosystem designed to dominate in an environment where stealth, speed, and information warfare converge. Yet while its potential is undeniable, the program is unfolding at a moment when Boeing faces a series of setbacks that cast long shadows over its defense portfolio. Boeing's troubles extend well beyond its military wing. The company has faced repeated controversies in its commercial division, ranging from production issues with passenger aircraft to persistent delays in delivering the new Air Force One. These problems have already shaken confidence in the aerospace giant's ability to deliver on time and on budget. In the military sphere, the picture is no less complicated. Earlier this year, two newly delivered F-15EX Eagle II fighters were abruptly grounded after a serious fuel venting malfunction was discovered. The defect caused excessive and unpredictable fuel discharge, an alarming issue that undercut the F-15EX's reputation as a low-risk, dependable upgrade to legacy fleets. For critics, it was yet another sign that Boeing was struggling to balance its commitments. Compounding the technical difficulties, Boeing's labor relations have hit turbulence as well. In early August, more than 3,000 workers across three major Midwest military aircraft plants launched a strike after rejecting a modified four-year agreement. The walkout raised immediate concerns about whether the company could maintain production schedules for several key defense projects, including the F-47. Delays in development or production could ripple across the Pentagon's modernization timeline, frustrating efforts to keep pace with emerging threats from China and Russia, both of which are accelerating their own sixth-generation fighter programs. Despite these challenges, the Pentagon has signaled continued confidence in the F-47's future. The U.S. Air Force has requested $3.5 billion to push forward development, even as the U.S. Navy's F/A-XX program faces budgetary cutbacks. For the Air Force, the stakes are clear. The Raptor, still a formidable aircraft, is aging, with only 143 combat-coded units remaining in service. Replacing them requires a fighter that does more than match its performance. It must surpass it in every measurable way. With the F-47, Boeing has promised an aircraft capable of integrating advanced stealth, powerful new sensors, adaptive engines, and seamless connectivity with drones and other platforms. The Air Force's plans are ambitious. It expects to acquire more than 185 of the new fighters, enough to replace its entire Raptor fleet and then some. Artist renderings released by the service highlight a sleek, tailless design, optimized for low observability and long-range operations. Unlike earlier generations, however, the F-47 will not simply be measured by its aerodynamics or weapons payload, but by its ability to operate as the central node in a vast digital battlespace. Artificial intelligence, Sensor fusion and cooperative engagement with unmanned systems are expected to define its edge. Still, questions linger. Can Boeing overcome its mounting technical and labor challenges to deliver on time? Will production delays or cost overruns erode congressional support for the program? And perhaps most pressing of all, can the F-47 arrive quickly enough to ensure the United States retains its air dominance as rivals roll out their own sixth-generation prototypes? Thanks for watching. Before you go, click the link on your screen to check out another video. See you there.